Less than a week left of the transfer window, Andrea Berta remains very busy. With all the focus on getting players out of the door, today we've also got a massive update on Piero Hincapie. As we get a massive update from Fabrizio Romano, we'll also discuss what's happening with Martin Odegaard, break down Eberechi Eze's first day at Arsenal, find out about a surprising deal regarding Reiss Nelson, and what's the latest on Kiwior. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational. As deadline day gets closer and closer, Arsenal are getting closer to the 8th summer signing. So as per, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with the breaking Arsenal news, with the fitness of captain Martin Odegaard first on the agenda after starting as the captain against Leeds, in a game where he overtook Patrick Vieira with more wins as an Arsenal captain, now only behind our most successful captain in Tony Adams. It was also a game where he was taken off in the first half, reportedly leaving the Emirates Stadium with his shoulder in a sling. But after encouraging reports coming out this week, claiming that Odegaard's injury wasn't as serious, it has now been officially confirmed that Odegaard has been called up by the Norway national team for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. Further confirmation that Odegaard's injury is not as serious, with that first fixture against Finland being only a week away. All signs point to Martin Odegaard being available for that gargantuan fixture at Anfield. And don't get it twisted, it is going to be so important. With Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz both missing, having the Arsenal captain to lead the Arsenal press against a Liverpool side that love to play out of the back. We are yet to get any official confirmation, but it looks like Odegaard could be available for the start. But one player of course that won't be is Kai Havertz. As confirmed by Ed Aarons, Kai Havertz will miss Arsenal's showdown at Liverpool on Sunday, as well as Germany's World Cup qualifiers next month, with a decision yet to be made on whether the forward needs a surgery on his knee, alongside the news about Bukayo Saka, set to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. News that would have concerned Arsenal fans in previous years, with games against Liverpool, Newcastle and Man City all coming up. The difference in 2025 though, is Arsenal finally have some quality level depth. Having spent over £50 million on Noni Madueke, not only do Arsenal have a natural right winger, but we've also got a certain Eberechi Eze, a dream that turned into a reality, as Eze was welcomed by the Arsenal owner Josh Kroenke on his first day at the Arsenal training centre. A video that was not only fantastic but also very eye-opening, seeing Eze smile so much throughout the entirety of his first day at Arsenal. But it was also a deal that, as much as Arsenal liked the player, it all boiled down to the player also pushing himself. As revealed by the Gunner blog, as well as speaking to Arteta, Eze also lobbied with the England team into Arsenal to push the club for his arrival. As with Victor Gyökeres before, Arsenal was struck by a player prepared to do whatever it took to get his preferred move. And here was the dream turned into a reality, as Eze was welcomed to his first ever Arsenal training session. After all the smiles on his first ever day, here he was alongside Declan Rice. And it all gets you thinking going into that massive game on Sunday. Despite no Bukayo Saka or Kai Havertz, all eyes turn to Noni Madueke and Eberechi Eze, both players that will be available. Madueke I definitely believe is going to start, but in the case of Eberechi Eze, are we going to see Mikel Arteta take a risk for a player that may have only had a few training sessions, but after a full preseason with Crystal Palace, starting the opening game of the season, not only is the player fit but he's also match sharp. If, as expected, Madueke starts on the right hand side, could we see Eze play as a number 10 in the place of Martin Odegaard, or will he play alongside Odegaard and start on the Arsenal left? Credit must go to Andrea Berta, because after years of Arsenal fans demanding a level of depth, the fact that we're going to Anfield with no Saka or Havertz, and yet still there's so many Arsenal fans excited, knowing that a win is certainly possible, the arrivals of Eze and Madueke go a long way. The matchup on the right hand side is going to be important. Noni Madueke versus Liverpool's new left back in Milos Kerkez, a player that has made a poor start to his Liverpool career, from being hooked off in the 60th minute in Liverpool's opening game against Bournemouth, to putting in a 6.4 rating against Newcastle, with one massive error led to a goal. And in the case of Noni Madueke, he is a player that's thrived against Kerkez in the past, from completing 4 out of 3 dribbles in their first encounter last season, to having 2 key passes and 1 big chance created, as well as 2 dribbles in their most recent encounter. You then think about Madueke's performance for Arsenal against Leeds, for all the work that he needs to do on the left hand side. As soon as he moved to the right, you can see a player that came alive. Against a Liverpool team that have scored 7 goals this season, but conceded 4, for Arsenal who have scored 6 and conceded 0. Both teams have won their opening games of the season, but someone's 100% record has to go. For Mikel Arteta's Arsenal to go to Anfield without Bukayo Saka, pressure of course falls on Madueke. But if things are working out, you've also got a certain star boy that Mikel Arteta could turn to. We of course are talking about Max Dowman, after becoming the youngest player in Premier League history to contribute to a goal by winning a penalty. As reports have confirmed, because of his age, Max Dowman has to get changed in a separate room to his Arsenal teammates before training sessions and on match days, but is able to go into the changing room when team talks are done by Mikel Arteta and the coaching staff. An Arsenal player that has caused so much excitement With even the world of rival fans noticing, Arsenal have got something very scary on their hands. But for Arsenal fans, we also have to apply some very important context. The boy is still 15 years of age. And as reported by Alex Howell, Dowman is now entering year 11 in September and is built in study time at the Arsenal training ground to ensure his education does not suffer. Players completing their education is extremely important to the club, and Per Mertesacker is the driving force behind this. Not only do Arsenal fans have to be careful of not putting too much pressure straight away, but you've also got a certain Arsenal man mentoring. As according to Alex Howell, Declan Rice is one of the players selected as a mentor to Dowman because he started his own journey at a young age. He is viewed as an ideal candidate to give the advice. As well as the Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard being another wonder kid that broke onto the scene at just 15 years of age. In the case of Declan Rice, was very noticeable is how much he wants Dowman to succeed. From all the photos that have come up behind the scenes, of Reiss always being alongside Dowman, to even a moment against Leeds United where Reiss was bursting past their team, and instead of playing for Victor Gyökeres, he was holding onto the ball for Max Dowman, trying to lay it on a plate for him to have a magic moment. One thing is for certain, Dowman has multiple players at Arsenal that are fantastic mentors. And in the case of becoming the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history, after Liverpool's Rio Ngamoa scored the winning goal against Newcastle, becoming the 4th youngest goal scorer in Premier League history, you look at number 1 in James Vaughan, who was only 16 years and 270 days old. For Dowman, who is still 15, Mikel Arteta has already showed that he's not scared to play him, giving him a whopping 30 minutes against Leeds United. Fingers crossed, if all things go to plan, Dowman could become the youngest goal scorer in Premier League history. Now let's get an update on the future of Albert Sambi Lokonga, a signing back in summer 2021, on loan last year at Sevilla, and now according to reports in Turkey, Trabzonspor have reached an agreement in principle with Arsenal for Albert Sambi Lokonga. Their preference for a deal is a loan with the option to buy. Lokonga is understood to be looking forward to joining the Turkish club, which doesn't quite make sense, because Lokonga only has 1 year left on his Arsenal contract. Next year he would be available in a free agent. But for a player that was a part of Arsenal's tour of Asia, but was not given a single minute, his Arsenal career is definitely over and he's definitely on the market. But the issue for Andrea Berta is no real team has come in and put a significant offer. Likewise in the case for a certain Fabio Vieira, who according to Jordan Davies, Stuttgart have been unable to come to agreement with Arsenal for Fabio Vieira, for a player that was also reportedly wanted by West Ham, on loan at Porto last year, playing to a very decent standard. But once again, no club has come in and provided a serious offer. For Arsenal and Andrea Berta, the clock is ticking. After spending over £200 million, can he get some sort of fee for Fabio Vieira or Albert Sambi Lokonga? And according to the Gunner blog, Arsenal may use the last week of the transfer window to loan or sell some academy players as well, such as Maldini Kakuri and Charles Sago Jr., with Ismail Kabia another who could be in line for a loan. The priority for the final week, of course, is getting players out of the door, which looks to be happening in the case of Reiss Nelson. As according to Ben Jacobs, Crystal Palace are on talks to sign Arsenal's Reiss Nelson for a fee in the region of £15 million, with Fulham prioritising Milan's Samuel Chukwueze and Shakhtar's Kevin. Having seen the pace that Arsenal got the Eze deal done, there's already clearly a very good connection there. And according to Daniel Kutz, Nelson is in talks to join Palace from Arsenal. It will be a £15 million fee and gets the wingers large wages off the books too. The Eze deal was smooth, so there shouldn't be an issue if that was anything to go by. But with the injury to Bukayo Saka ruling him out for a month, here was the Arsenal director Andrea Berta very happy after Victor Gyökeres smashed in the penalty against Leeds United. But having seen Arsenal sign 7 different players, Berta is not a man scared to get deals over the line. In a summer where Arsenal have been linked to Real Madrid's Rodrigo. Now according to The Athletic, Rodrigo had instructed his agents to explore a Real Madrid exit for him this summer. However, his camp insisted that he wanted to stay, and clubs that expressed an interest were left with the impression that Rodrigo was not fully convinced about leaving. But moving on to Arsenal's potential agreements, as Andrea Berta tries to secure Arsenal's 8th summer signing, the key of course is the future of Jakub Kiwior. According to Fabrizio Romano, FC Porto's official bid for Jakub Kiwior has now been received by Arsenal. A fee in excess of a €25 million package, add-ons included, a loan with the obligation to buy. With even the Hand of Arsenal reporting, if all proceedings go as planned, Jakub Kiwior will make his way to Portugal today to finalise a move to Porto. Final details still being discussed about add-ons. Arsenal's legal team is meticulous. At the final stages, best of luck to Jakub Kiwior, for a player, as reports have confirmed, received offers from around 15 different clubs, but has chosen to go to Porto. As the Hand of Arsenal confirms, Arsenal were packed with offers to Kiwior, but the player was set on Porto. Even Crystal Palace made a serious attempt, but failed to convince the Polish centre-back. The concern for Arsenal fans is, are we getting enough money for a centre-back that was so reliable last year, stepping up the absence of Gabriel Magalhaes? Going to the Bernabeu and dropping a fantastic performance. Locking down Kylian Mbappe, €25 million doesn't seem like a lot of money, especially when we look at the other centre-backs that have gone in this window. Take for example Gerald Konsa at Liverpool, a player they received £35 million for, but you also have to add some important context. Going to Portugal was never going to work in Arsenal's favour, with a fee of €25 million being the 6th highest fee ever played by a Portuguese team, as well as being Porto's 2nd most expensive ever signing. The Portuguese league is known for its player sales, but not for spending a massive amount of money. For Arsenal, the ideal scenario would have been Crystal Palace, a Premier League side with a lot more money to spend, we could have been talking 35 to 40 million pounds. But with Kiwior's heart set on going to Porto, it looks like Arsenal are trying to get that deal over the line, because of course they've also got a replacement in mind. We of course are talking Piero Hincapie of Bayer Leverkusen, who left their most recent game in tears, said to have waved goodbye to the Leverkusen fans, or maybe crying because Spurs were after him, only for Arsenal to save the day. As according to Fabrizio Romano, Piero Hincapie said yes to Arsenal and personal terms have been agreed. A long-term deal is ready. Understand Hincapie favours Arsenal and is also seen as an ideal signing by Arteta. Arsenal preparing their opening bid, likely alone with the obligation to buy, with Kiwior to Porto soon. Ultimately speaking, what Arsenal are doing is replacing Kiwior with a more physical profile. For as great as Kiwior can be on the ball, Hincapie also has a similar level of ability, able to provide Arsenal an overlap on that left-hand side, just like a certain Ben White, while also having a physical edge. South American by nature, having seen the aggression of Sandro Martinez and Cristiano Romero, Hincapie is also a very similar physical profile, able to be aggressive and win that ball back as soon as possible, where Kiwior has always struggled with his balls in behind, having seen him struggle against physical strikers. Hincapie is a player that could thrive on the left-hand side, comfortable playing on the inside of a back three, not scared to go outside and provide an overlap, as well as confidence to play in the half space. You have to rate the player's mentality, leaving a Leverkusen side where he is a starter, coming to an Arsenal team where you've got Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba, a left-hand side that also has Ricardo Calafiori. Hincapie is coming to Arsenal with the idea that he can definitely become a starter, and according to reports in Germany, Arsenal only went to pay 50 million euros for Piero Hincapie, with Leverkusen insisting on a 60 million euro release clause, but for a deal that's heavily tied to Jakub Kiwior, the hand of Arsenal was given us a state of play, confirming the Porto have officially sent an offer of 26 million euros loan plus obligation package, containing a fixed fee plus loan fee. Arsenal responded with a counter offer today, which has been the main point of negotiations. Specifics are being discussed, which include the possibilities, such as a sell-on fee and Champions League bonus related add-ons. Arsenal hoping the final fee is around the 30 million euro mark. Either way, the deal is in its final stages, but Andrea Berta's ideal plan is to only sanction this deal once and if we secure a deal for Hincapie. Negotiations are ongoing, with personal terms agreed on the player side. The reason for his strategy is for Andrea to ensure Mikel Arteta is fully equipped for his 2025-26 campaign and not left short. A lot of moving parts and negotiations. Patience is the master of the situation. Let's just say that Arsenal can get a deal over the line though. Not only is the defensive depth looking stacked, with so many different options and profiles, but also in terms of the squad itself. With the first team that looked so strong in the first place, with this being a potential first team, looking so strong and well balanced, but then this being the second team, with the back five of Kepa, White, Mosquera, Hincapie and Lewis Kelly, Marino and Norgard in midfield, with the options of Martinelli, Wanyeri, Madueke and Havertz as the front line. That doesn't even include Leandro Trossard, Gabriel Jesus or Max Dowman. One thing is becoming more and more certain. Arsenal's squad for 2025-26 is stacked, but Mikel Arteta is going to have to learn to rotate, using different options for different game states. Arsenal have an array of options, but does Mikel Arteta have the coaching capacity to get the best out of every single player? For an Arsenal side that has now spent 293 million euros in the summer of 2025, with a net spend of 285 million euros being the highest in the Premier League. Not only does that add pressure towards Mikel Arteta, but context is also very important. Take for example this graphic here of squad cost versus the value of the player themselves, and you can see that Arsenal are one of the best in the market in terms of signing players that increase their value, with a total squad cost of £826 million, but a squad value of 1.1 billion. That is the highest margin of any team in the Premier League, miles ahead of Brighton, Man City and Sunderland. You look at the bottom two, and you'll see Chelsea and Man United. Testament to the coaching of Mikel Arteta, increasing the value of players that they've signed, but the next step being very clear. We have to learn how to sell like Chelsea and Liverpool, because if we want to keep it sustainable, spend a massive amount of money next summer as well. The key is going to be, can Arsenal get the most of the sellable assets as well? But that is the video there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy in all of his social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, as Piero Hincapie becomes closer and closer to becoming an Arsenal player. Personal term agreement has been reached, but of course now it comes down to Arsenal and Leverkusen to getting a deal over the line. My friends, I will keep you posted and I'll see you next time. Take care, in a bit.